Hi, everyone. Good morning. Hi, we're still waiting for a bit more people to join us. So feel free to introduce yourself. We're also live on YouTube. So everybody on YouTube, you can also introduce yourself. Our team is also uh, on YouTube. So don't feel left behind. So we are always overseeing both sides on Zoom and on YouTube. So feel free to get to know one another first before we start, okay? Okay. Okay, we have quite about half of the participants already on Zoom. We also have a few people on YouTube. Okay, so on, let's see who we have on Zoom. So we have also quite a number of people from India today. So we have Mayura from Mumbai. Hi, Mayura. We have Dr. Madhavi Dankar from SNDT Women's University. Hi. And also on YouTube, we have Zana. And we are also joined by Kiman and Dian from yesterday's webinar. Hi guys. Um, okay. I think I'm just going let you guys introduce yourself. So while you guys are introducing yourself, I'm going to introduce myself first. So I am Atika. I am a learning designer on OpenLearning. So what I will be doing today is that I will be answering questions on designing online activities, online learning activities. So joining me today are also my teammates, Balasandar, Mashita, and Sophia, who are also on both YouTube and Zoom. They will also be taking on your questions. So if I am maybe stuck, they will come help me out. Okay. So are you guys ready? I think we have a few numbers of people, so maybe we can start. Okay. Okay. So yesterday we had a session with Dr. Dian and Kiman. So on yesterday we have a webinar that we discussed about how designing an online activities from face-to-face classroom and then turning it into an online classroom. We had a very huge number of people joining us actually. So so yesterday we had quite a number of questions and we couldn't actually answer all those questions. So half of the session today we are going to answer those questions, and you can also answer questions while live right now. My team will try their best to answer your questions. Okay, so um, okay, let's see. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, okay, I think we can all see it. Okay, so um, okay, so let me just okay. So a bit of housekeeping. You can chat using the chat function, but to ask questions, you please use the Q&A function in Zoom. For those viewing on YouTube, you can just ask in the chat. Our team will try to answer those questions. Okay, so let's start. So I have some questions that we have during the webinar yesterday. So we'll start with that first. Okay, so the first question is how to assess students in an online environment. Okay, so we actually had a Q&A session last week about assessment. You can view the videos, you can watch the videos online. We will give the links on in the chat. So this for this session, we are only going to talk about designing online activities. So we also have a blog post regarding assessment. So you can read and watch the videos, um, the videos that are in YouTube. So that session was conducted by my colleague Chandru. So it was a good session asking a session Q&A session also about assessment. So you can continue watching that when we finish, I guess. All right. So we'll move this to next question. One of the biggest challenge is not getting conned by LMS providers and being confused on type of platform to use for webinars. Okay, so our advice for this is that yes, there are a lot of LMS providers and you might be confused on what the functions are and what do they provide. So our advice is that to do some research on what are the features that you or your institution need. So make use of the trial period before you decide on to commit yourself to that LMS. Most LMS have a trial period, so try to go for the LMS that have this option. So we also have this option available on OpenLearning for individual subscribers. You can go to openlearning.com and start a trial version. So we also have for institution a demo. So if you do, we can if you are interested, you can contact our sales or any of our team. Okay. Okay. Uh, Next question is how to ensure we can accommodate with students' different learning styles. Okay, so for this question, um, I think what you can do is that you can include flexibilities in completing the tasks or assignments. Or maybe, for example, the students are allowed to submit in multiple formats. What you can also do is that you can design activities that allow the students to connect the concept authentically to their own environment, and then uh, include various types of contents. You can include videos, you can include written content where the students can read the content, they can listen to podcasts and also read articles. So different various types of contents is a huge help for students that have different learning styles. So not all students are comfortable in just watching videos. Some of them are comfortable in reading. Some of them are comfortable on listening to podcasts. So you can include various teaching styles for this. Okay. And also, you want to design your course in a self-paced manner so that the students can do their learning on their own pace. So they don't feel like they're rushed. Okay. All right. Next, we have how do we handle math classes in an online environment? Okay, for math classes, I think we can take example from Khan Academy. So what they usually do is that they show a video of a video to show how to solve the problems, and then the students try to solve the problems on a paper, take a screenshot, and then share. So how you can elevate this is that you can enable interaction like discussion sharing and peer reviews. um, can also allow the students to reflect on what they have learned and share how they would like to apply the new knowledge in personally meaningful ways. So you can provide also real world scenarios where math lessons would be valuable. Okay, so try to include active learning in even math classes, because most people usually think that math classes are very one-sided. So try to make it a variety of ways. Okay. All right. Okay. Which platform to or tools that can be used to engage students in discussion? Okay. So I think for this, almost all of the LMS in the market has a feature that enables discussion. So oftentimes the features are not the issues of engagement. You have LMS with a discussion features, but students are not engaging. So what you can do is that you have to think in two aspects, which is the design of the activities and also facilitation. So for activities, you want to design activities that encourage self-expressions and open-ended contribution. And then you also want activities that capture the learner's interest, intrinsic motivation, and foster enjoyment in learning. So when you have these types of activities, students actually want to engage, they wanted to share. So when you have activities that are intrinsically and are based on their own experience, students tend to share more and engage more in the courses. Okay, in terms of facilitations, you can boost your students' active engagement further by uh, engaging with the students rather than telling and knowing when to step back. So you don't need to be uh, there all the time. You want to take a step back and that the learners engage with one another. Okay, so we actually have a blog post for this, written by our colleague Eikris. So this is a blog post on how to facilitate an online course and community on Open Learning. We will actually share this link to this blog post in the chat. Okay, so don't worry, you will get to see this also. Okay, so the next question is, how can I monitor the learning of students online? Okay, so to monitor the learning of students online, I think this goes for asynchronous learning, where you don't have the students be online on the same time. So how you can do this? Generally, all LMS has its own method to track progress, like active times, student progress, completion of activities. You can also monitor via facilitation, like checking in often. So monitoring doesn't mean that you have to, the students have to be there at the same time as you. So this doesn't just uh, be on attendance. So you want to monitor in terms of, you want to monitor in other ways, like the students complete the activities. So that means they have joined the activity, joined the course, they have engaged in the activities. So that is one way for you to monitor your learning of the students. Okay, all right, so next question. How do I explain practical accounting based questions in the online environment? Oh, okay. So for accounting, it's very practical. So it's a little bit hard. Some people think it's a little bit hard to adapt accounting to an online environment. So I'm going to show you an example from an accounting course that we've developed. Okay, so this is actually from a course, accounting for inventory. In this page, uh, participants are given a scenario where they can apply the concept that they have been taught, like identifying the type of discount and recording it in the journal entry. And then the students are asked to share the journal entry by taking a photo of it or uploading their Excel file. So that's how they make use of their accounting knowledge. So in here, you can also incorporate active learning, where they actually go outside and use their discount knowledge abilities, right? Okay, so for this course, you can join this course to see how they create this activity. We'll also be sharing the link of this course in the chat. Okay, so don't worry, you can go in this course and take a look at it and take inspiration of how the course are created. Okay. Next is, how do you evaluate that the online contents are meeting the students' expectation and are of good quality? Okay, so for this, some LMS has a function to show which page are popular, like their course completion rate. So whenever you see the course completion rate is higher, it means that the students are have no difficulty in doing the activities. So if it's lower, it might show that the students might have a problem, or they might not prefer to do the activity so much. So you, from that, you get the feedback also from the students. So you can also besides this, you can also you include feedback in the middle and at the end of the course. So ask the students feedback. So it's not just how you can make sure that your course are in the students expectation, and as is by asking the students for feedbacks. So try to make sure that you have this. Okay. Okay, next. My students are in remote areas and complain about my talk is not audible. How do I fix this? Okay, so this is the downside of having a synchronous learning, where you have like a con call like this, webinar session or something like this, where students where you might have technical glitch, the students have low internet or something. So that's a downside. So what you can do is that you can have a recorded session where they can download and listen to the videos um, at their own pace. So they won't have this problem where you will have the technical glitch. You will also be able to edit the videos, make it, optimize it to the best possible version. Okay. And aside from videos, you can also have written contents. Written contents are actually really good because they are low bandwidth and won't take much to download. And also, you want to chunk your contents into a shorter length. Like for videos, you want to chunk it down so that it's easier for them to download and listen when they can. Okay. All right. Next. Using video conferencing will require some high bandwidth and fast internet connectivity, which some learner doesn't have. How would you suggest a combination of different tools or platform to engage the learners and keep them active in our course or modules? Okay, for this one, um, it's best to design a self-paced or a synchronous course. It doesn't require the students to be online at a specific time. So, like I mentioned before, this it's like all the downsides of having a uh, live session. You might want to have a different session where they don't have to be online at the same time. So other than that, you want to avoid long duration videos. Instead, use combination of various formats. You can use infographics, text, audio, and even downloadable materials. So don't forget to dedicate your time to check in often to make sure this course is running smoothly and connect with your students. Okay, so we also have a help page for this about how you can facilitate an online course properly. So yes. So we have this. We have some points on how you can facilitate your course. You can send announcement, send reminder messages, check the comments, allow directed messages, set up pre-enrollment questions, check your email, and check in often. So these are some things that you can do to facilitate your online course properly. All right. Okay. Next, let's move to the next one. I see that everything is discussed in the previous webinar yesterday refers to learning activities related to academic course. What about using open learning in corporate training? How do we use activities or games to drive home a point, not necessarily as an assessment? Okay, so for this, we take example from a course that we built, sustainable thinking. Some learning activities where the learners are active might be getting the students to review all of the products in their pantry and audit them based on their sustainable practices. Also getting the students to track their ecological footprint for 24 hours and write a reflection, and getting students to design a pitch of product, a pitch and pitch a product and service that supports sustainability. So this is for you to for the students to have an active learning. This actually goes with the idea that you don't give everything to the students. You want the students to explore on their own and um, get to the point on their own. Okay, you can give them a base idea and then you provide an activity where the students can explore and then get the idea on their own. That's what you want to do. You want to have an active learning in your course. All right. Okay, next. Okay. Oh, we just finished the questions for that we have in the in the webinar session yesterday. Okay, we'll move to the questions that we got from the registration. Okay. So first question is, how do I create an online activity for a practical and hands-on classes? So for technical course or courses that requires hands-on practice, one of the ways to design activities is by simulating a real environment. So for example, think of the areas that the students usually have issues with when performing the hands-on session. For example, in a breaststroke swimming style, student A is not able to lift his hand to catch his breath, his head to catch his breath. Imagine you're student A's swimming buddy. How would you advise a student? What did you say so? So that is a question from a swimming course. The idea is that to keep the scenarios and challenges as close to the real world as possible. So this is how you can uh, use ideas like practical or hands-on. So even if it's a practical or hands-on classes, you try to visualize it in terms that you can do it uh, by sitting in front of the by just being at home. Okay. We also have points from yesterday from Kiman, where he said you can do task analysis, visual, visualization, and verbalization for and reverse engineering. So what they do in practical courses is that they do reverse engineering. What they show a proper way they show a proper way to do it, and then they ask the students to analyze what they have learned or if they can recreate it. So this is how um, you can do reverse engineering for a practical or hands-on classes. Another way is that points by Kiman yesterday also is that how doctors, even being at home, they can use tools at home to mock demonstration. It doesn't have to be a real tools. They You can use any tools and then make it a mock demonstration. You can explain to them in a video or anything and show a demonstration of how it's done. So that's one way to do a practical or hands-on classes. And another thing is that you have to know that students have a very high high sense of creativity. You can ask the students to try and recreate it on their own. You might be surprised on how creative the students can be nowadays. Okay. All right. Okay, so next we'll move to the next question. How to teach and create activities for an art subject. Okay, for this one, I actually we actually have a course on OpenLearning. It's free to join. You can join an art course, and it's for an advanced learner. Oh, let me share. Okay. So this is the course Learn to Paint with Lenhan. Um, this is an advanced painting course. So what they do is that they have all this like for monochrome painting, they have all the styles. They teach you how the styles, and then they ask the students to mimic how these pictures. And then by the end of each module, they have a gallery where the students share their work. So you can see here that the students share their work on what they have learned in monochrome painting. So you see all this work. Okay. So this is what you can do also for art courses. So it doesn't you can first like show them, demonstrate, and then ask them to mimic this, and then you can give feedback on it. Okay. Okay, next is internet connectivity and capacity are an issue for most of my students. How can I conduct my online class? Okay, so for this one, I think we've touch base with this, but okay, for this one, what you can do is that design a synchronous type of course where the students can complete it on their own pace. Okay, so and then the contents, try to not put in contents that need high bandwidth. to load examples for like text contents and images. So those are usually don't need high bandwidth. Okay. Also provide options for the students to view videos if you have videos, if they wanted to. So don't make it compulsory for students to view the videos. For this could also be for students who are not able to view it on the same time, so they can download it. And for students who are not able to download or view the videos, you can have transcripts of the video so that they can read the transcripts instead. Okay. And then from example yesterday, Kiman mentioned about how his students, uh, he is in Sarawak. So some of his students are in rural areas where they have hard, where connectivity to internet is a bit hard. So what they do is that whenever during this MCO period, whenever they have to go out to buy groceries or anything, they they tend to download everything when they get a good connection. So this is where um, pre pre contents that you have set up is great, because the students can compile the contents, and then when they get good internet, they can just download it in one go. All right. Okay. Next we have, I have no idea how to do an online course. What should I do first? Okay. Yes. For this one, um, I think what you can do first is that take inspiration from other courses. You can take a lot of courses online. For example, on OpenLearning, we have a few. We have a lot of courses, free courses, for you to join and see how the courses are made. By joining them, you can, by joining the course, you are actually in student view, but you can take inspiration of how they conduct the course and how they create the courses. Okay. um, you can also view some activities that we have um, in our showcase page. So we have a showcase page where you can take inspiration. We have for promo page outcomes, but here we have activities. You can just see what examples of activities that you can take inspiration of. Okay, we also, for this, we also have um, a handbook that you can use. We actually give out this handbook, a 7-step course method, where we teach you a step-by-step guide. We give you a step-by-step guide on how you can build your online course on OpenLearning with using OpenLearning. So as I mentioned, OpenLearning have a trial for individual educators trial, so you can try out and use this handbook to help you on it. Okay. Other than that, we also have a blog post on 5 tips on moving your existing course online. This was written by our colleague Brooke. So you can take notes from this. And also we also have an education series courses for this. We have 3 courses for learning design basics, pedagogy into practice, design a world-class course, and facilitating for success. These are courses that you can take to help you in designing your course. All right. Okay. Okay. Next. So this is the learning design series. Okay. Next. How to design activities to engage my students. Okay, so for this one, I think I might need help from my colleague Chandru to help me with this. Chandru, can you help me with this question? how to design activities to engage my students.
Hi, hi everyone. Okay, thank you, Atika. So for passing this, okay, this actually a very good question. How to design activities to engage my students? This is one of the biggest challenge even I face when I create activities for for in my online courses. Okay, it's one of the most challenging, I would say, and but there's a couple of tricks that I picked up along the way, and couple of techniques that I believe that I use when I come to develop a good online activities. Okay, the first thing is I always think, okay, let's say I want to create online activities. Okay, this is a topic that I want to do it. Then first thing I will go and double check is what is the outcome. Go back to your outcome. That is it. This is outcome that what you want student to achieve by doing these activities. And that's the first thing I always check. And then second is okay, once your outcome, and then next, this is the thing that I want students to produce. So how I gonna create the activity for the students to produce? Okay, that's the activity part. Of course, there's a okay, some people do quiz, some people do uh, close-ended type activities, but I prefer to go for more open-ended type activities. Okay, the second way after the outcome, I think about what type of activities that I want to do. Is it because in online environment we can do when I say what type is like role, is it a role play? Is it like a scenario based? Is it like a student discuss? Is it like Socratic dialogue? Okay, you can do. Okay, and when I think about it, and then I was this activity, one thing, no matter what type of activity you choose, always think like the activity must allow students to collaborate. That's the first thing, allow students to collaborate and must able to maybe crowdsource among them sharing, and in the same time I also allow a peer feedback. So the aim here is actually this aim here is actually to create a very social learning engaged learning community. Okay, so think about that, and then the finally once I create the activity, of course I apply the activity in the online course, and then I evaluate back. Okay, this student really engaged in the activity. What is the if they not engage? What is the reason? Is it my instructions not clear? All these things that you need to take points um, when you're creating an activity. Okay, so we also have a very good blog post. How to create an engaging activity. One of my colleagues is writing a very good blog post. Even I love the blog post. I love to my colleague will share in the. Okay, this is the one. Okay, this is the blog post. 10 engaging activity way you can create 10 engaging activity idea to enhance interaction in your online course. Please read this because there's examples and how you can do it. It can help you in your own online course activity design. All right. So thank you, Atika, for sharing this. Okay, I pass this to Atika.
Ah, thank you, Chandru, for your help.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I agree with Chandru with this. So design design activities to engage the students is that you try to have activities that um, ask the students to engage with each other, uh, to communicate with each other. You can have role play scenarios, discussion based, creating something. This goes back to my topic about my points about making it intrinsic motivation, so that it feels close to them, right? Okay, so next we move to the next question. How do I facilitate my online course effectively? Okay, so for this one, um, okay, so facilitation actually starts before your students enter the course, and it works best with a proactive and nurturing approach. There are several ways you can use to facilitate your learning community, like start by seeding your community, ask them to participate in ice-breaking activity, and ask them to do activities. And another is that make sure you have a strong online presence in the first 3 weeks of your online course when they started. Try to engage with everyone by commenting, sharing, and liking. So you try to make sure that your presence is there in the course. Make sure that the students know that you're there and they can ask you questions anytime. Okay. And then create a social learning environment which allows students to take facilitator rules and help each other. So what you can do is that um, like I said, take a step back. You should know when you should take a step back, being a facilitator, by creating a social learning environment. You want the students to teach each other, not just you giving them a point or knowledge. You want the students to try to teach another, because we have this saying where um, uh, okay, sorry. Yeah, because you want the students to be able to get get to their point and then be able to teach other people. So when they are able to teach other people, it means that they have understand the topic itself. All right. Next, other things is that you can use analytics data and keeps the learning on track. So you can track the students by checking the data from time to time. Also, if you're doing this I think most LMS also have a function like this. Make use of tools like a like button. If you're using like Facebook, OpenLearning also have some sort of like button. We call it kudos. So you can make use of those tools. You can use badges as some sort of gamifications to award the students whenever they participate in activity, or in activities that uh, activities that seems challenging and then they are able to answer it. You can give them badges, so make them feel that their contribution are appreciated. You want that so that the students can engage this in the courses effectively. Okay. We also You can actually take a course on this in our facilitation course in one of the learning design series, education series. There's one course for facilitation. You can take that course. It's actually free to join. Free to join. It's only pay to certify. Okay. Okay. Next is how to design activities that students will want to do and how to give clear instructions. Okay. Will want to do and how to give clear instruction. Okay. For this one, you want to have activities that the students will want to do, like you want to have an activities that will capture the students interest, and you want to be an intrinsic motivation and to foster enjoyment whenever they're learning. You want the students to also connect concepts authentically to their own world, and try to uh, make sure that the students are able to do this activity. You don't try not to give activities that are too hard, because this might try not to give activities that are too hard early on, because this might seem intimidating and they don't want to do any other activity. So you want to capture the interest, so make it fun, make it lively, make it connect to them, make it connect to the real world environment where they can actually use this outside. And then think of imagine if there are no grades for this activity, will the students want to do it? So think of it like that. So whenever you try to create an activity. Okay. In terms of how to give clear instruction, is that one way is that you want to be very very detailed, because in an online classes, especially the ones that are uh, you're not there, especially the ones that are asynchronous, you want to be very clear in what you want to the students to achieve and give. So give every detail, try to make it sequential, chunk it down, so that everything that you wanted is into one point. Try to do and also what you can do is that try asking somebody else to do this before you give the students. See if they understand. If they understand and they're able to do it and achieve what you want them to, and then you can give it to your students to try do the activities. Okay. Okay, next. How can I save my online classes? Okay, I think this is more for technical. But if you're using an LMS, I think you don't need to worry about saving it on your computer, because usually LMS are runs in cloud, so you don't need to worry about using your online classes. Most LMS also have export function for you to download your materials. So if you want to download your materials computer to your computer and save it in your computer itself, most LMS have this export function. Okay. Okay. Next, can it be made mandatory for teachers to develop online skills as we are living in a digital age? Okay, this is good. This is a question. Okay, in our opinion, teaching online is a good skill to have, especially in today's environment where we are in a digital age, and right now we are in MCO. We cannot go out, we cannot go to schools, so right now it's the best time for you to be learning and develop an online skills. It's even so try to go uh, join any online skills classes, maybe read do some research on it. So yeah, we think that it is best for you to develop an online skills right now. Okay. How to conduct writing tests, summative questions in online learning. Okay, so for this, we can take example, like for example, I will create an activity where students think of a topic that interests them, and then let them write on their own time, and they can submit it to you. Then you can have a follow-up activity for the students to reflect on how they write it, what are their challenges and what they have learned from it. So in open learning, we do have a feature that allows learners to submit only for the teacher's view, which uh, if you are having problems and uh, copying, you think that there are problems in students want to copy each other. So in open learning, we actually have this function where students when the students submit, only you can view it. Okay, so that is not a problem. You can try this out on our platform. Okay, so next question is, what are the most effective tools for e-learning? Audio lectures, PowerPoint with narration, or recorded video lectures? Okay, for this, um, okay, mm, okay, maybe I'll ask again my colleague Chandru for this one. Chandru, would you want to answer this?
Hi, thank you, Atika. Yeah, I love to answer this. So this is actually a very fascinating question. So one of the questions like, what are the most effective tools for e-learning? Audio or a PowerPoint presentation or recorded video lecture. Okay, so here we're talking about different type of contents. In e-learning or in the online courses, you can create a different type of content like this. Audio file, audio content, very just a simple write-up content, infographic, and maybe a content like a video where you do presentation. So when I create an online course, when I look at the content, The thing is, what type of content or what type of delivery method that's suitable for this type of content is you need to analyze it first. Okay, for example, let's say I want to create, let's say you have some sort of a process or steps that you want to show students. Okay, so what type of content suitable for this kind of write-up? So I will think, oh, is it just a written text or infographic? So I will think infographic is much more better. So I will create infographic for this type of content. So let's say you have content where you just speak or just want to tell students something without showing anything. Then don't go for video. Maybe a written text should be enough because it's less bandwidth and student can access more easily compared to video, right? And sometimes even audio also should be okay if you think audio. Only go for video type of content when you want to show some sort of hands-on and you want to show student to see and practice, then only you go for video type content. Otherwise, just better to avoid that at all. And so, and this is after you create all this different type content, finally in the end, always have an activity, an engaging activity, because content is for you to transmit the information, for them to tell something. But after that, student, how they gonna take whatever that we just say and then analyze it, process it, is by how you're gonna know how much they understand. Is by doing the activity, and then they have to produce something. So always end your content with the great activities. Okay. Thank you, Adhika, for this time.
All right, great. Thank you, Chandru, for this session. Okay, I guess we can move to the next question then. Thanks, Chandru. Okay. Okay, for what is a typical hardware setup and software suite to begin with for module design, content production, and final delivery? Okay, so for this one, I guess with the ever fast speed technology era that we have right now, you might require less and less high-end hardware to run an online learning course. There are software as a service platform like OpenLearning that allows you to subscribe to the cloud-based platform tools without having cutting-edge technology in your own home. So you can have a simple computer device, an up-to-date web browser and internet. You can create the course anywhere and anytime. So you don't need to worry to have uh, to worry in having like hardware or software suite where you need to design all this um, platform for an online. You can just use whatever there is on online, like Open Learning. We have uh, you can use our platform to have your online course. You have other platforms like edX, Coursera, Khan Academy. Those are online courses where you can join and take examples of how you can create your online courses, right? And next is how to align content activities with learning outcome. So for this, we have what we call constructive alignment principle. In this principle, we ought to design both content and learning activities to align with the learning outcome. So here, there's this image by uh, doing aligning your learning outcome to your content and activities, you will ensure that everything that you are going to put in the course is aligned to the course outcome. You will produce a high quality and organized course and allow you to focus on what matters and how what matters and not to not to be too overexcited and include too many information that is outside of the learning scope. So when you align to the learning outcome, you won't have materials that are supposed not to be there in the first place. Okay, so you can maybe cut down some information, some contents that are not aligned to the learning outcomes. Okay, so how you can align is that how we usually do this is that we have this template, um, where you have the first one is the learning outcome, and then you have the content and topic, and then you have the third one as the learning activities. So you have the learning outcome, you have the contents that aligns to the learning outcome, and then you have an activity that aligns to the content and the learning outcome itself. So we normally plan this out first using this template before we jump into building our online course, because this is this helps us so that we don't overexcite ourselves in producing way too many contents. So this actually is an example from our course that we created for Sangway, which is a beginner's guide to coffee. Okay, so you can actually join this course and um, see how we align the learning outcome to the contents itself. Okay, so you can join this. We will include the link in the chat, right? Okay, next, how to ensure my students are actually going through the contents. So for this one, I think this one is usually for contents that you have put up, and then you want to know the students have watched it, have done their reading or anything. So this is usually a synchronous uh, lesson. So what you can do is that you can have reflection activities by the end of your activities, and the activities will show evidence of learning of each of the contents that fulfill the learning outcome. uh, and it will help to align the learning journey of the course. So alternatively, some tools will allow you to track the students' progress according to the contents. Some LMS have this progress, students progress. They can track students progress wherever the students done the activity, like our platform on OpenLearning. We have the progress bar. Whenever the students have finished an activity and have gone through a page, it will um, make the progress bar go higher. Okay. Okay. Okay, what are your favorite online learning instructional strategies and why? Okay, this is an interesting question. It's very personalized, I think. But for this, I think on generally on Open Learning, we believe in student empowerment to foster deeper learning through intrinsic motivation, active learning, and encourage students constructivism by building rapport and students support collaboration. Okay, so by giving the students the power and encouragement to take ownership of their own learning, it promotes an intrinsic motivation, which in turn leads to a deeper learning and understanding of the topic itself. So we actually have this wall in our office on Sir Ken Robinson, which addressed the changing education paradigm. He have an article called "Changing Education Paradigm," uh, which says that most great learning takes place in groups. Collaboration is the stuff of growth rather than individualizing people, which separates them for their natural learning environment. So, Sir Ken Robinson actually promotes that learning works best in groups and in collaboration. So, we in Open Learning also um, believe that, because when the students take charge of their own learning, it will feel much more valuable to them. So they will feel that they have learned something. It's not so whenever they have learned a new topic, they will feel like, oh, I've actually know this now. I'm not just listening, I actually explored this topic way deeper and I liked it. So you want that to from a student's learning. Okay. Okay, next we have, how do we ensure that our design is fit for the lesson? Okay, for this one, we would recommend to always refer back to your learning outcome when designing your course. Like we mentioned earlier, it is important to check the constructive alignment of the course. So when you have aligned your course to the learning outcome, so your content, your activity, and your assessment are aligned to the learning outcome, you your course uh, will be okay. It will not stray from your objectives. So you know that you are giving the right topic and lesson to your student. Okay. Next is as a basic learner of online tools, which tools should I be familiar with? So online tools, there actually are a lot of tools that can be used to design online course. Like yesterday, our panelists shared about collaboration tools and content creation tools, or survey tools. So he actually have variety of tools that he used. He didn't use just one method. He tried a lot of methods to teach. It's not just it's up to you. You have to find your sweet spot on how to design your courses, your lessons. This is more of a try and error, but what you want is that the most important thing is you have to ask yourself, what do your student need? So you need to do some research to find out the different tools that can be used to achieve the need of your students and your course outcome. So try to play around with the online tools that are on the internet. There are a lot. Um, I haven't discovered a lot of the tools. So like yesterday, our panelist Kiman also shared that he sometimes use telegrams and WhatsApp for tasks, by giving out tasks and everything. And I actually never thought of using telegram to deliver my classes. So that's one way. So you want to explore and see how other people do it. All right. Okay. Oh, we're actually the last one. Okay, so we have also references that you can check it out. We have the Learning Design Basics Pedagogy into Practice. We have a design a world-class course to address about intrinsic motivation. We have 5 tips moving your existing course online. We have also questions to ask yourself before building your online course by one of our learning designer, Eikris. We also have a blog post by um, Assistant Professor Dr. Rose Maliza from IIUM on what it's like to start teaching online. So those are some things that you can go through. We will share this, but I think we also have some questions online. Uh, okay. I think online, more our team have answered your questions. So thank you guys for answering the questions while I was going through the slides. Okay. So we also have future sessions. As I mentioned, if you have joined our session yesterday, we will be running the Tanya OL or Ask OL session every month as a support channel for educators on different topics. So if you have any learning design related questions, please let us know via the Tanya OL Google form, and we will try our best to answer them. You can also reach out to me or my team directly via email. Or if you have technical or sales related questions, you can reach out to our customer success and sales team. Um, uh, and also at Open Learning, we are aware that these are challenging times, and we are committed to supporting you in any way we can. We will share more about our COVID-19 response and offers with you. We'll we will include the links to everything that we have mentioned throughout this session and this in the chat box, and we will also email it to you as well after this session. We will also be including all the resources that we have discussed today, along with the webinar, the Tanya OL session recording in the follow-up email. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to my team for being for responding on Zoom and on YouTube. Um, Thank you for all everyone who participate in this session. Thank you for joining us today. We hope to see you again in the next session. Um we hope to. If you have any question, please always Uh, feel free to ask us anytime. Reach out to us, and yes, I guess we are at the end of our session. So thank you everybody for joining me today, me and my team, for the session today. Okay.